All right, so we are at the, your nemesis, my nemesis.
The bane of my existence.
The bane of your existence. And we actually are in contract on this property. The people are getting a fantastic deal. I always thought from the get-go that this property was worth $450 to $550, and I think we're under contract for $400,000. I don't remember exactly, but this is a great property. In fact, this piece of property right here is owned by Land Bank.
And they won't sell it, and they won't say why they won't sell it.
So it sounds like what we could do here, if we really wanted to, if we end up holding on to this, we could just fence this in and then take it over by mowing the lawn and acquisitive prescription, or not acquisitive prescription. That's if you can guess what that term is, that is actually in Napoleonic code for adverse possession. Do you know what adverse possession is?
No.
So it's when you take over somebody's property, you make it your own, and then after 10 years, it becomes your own. So like if you have a property and let's say that the neighbor is not taking care of it and there's got extra land, you go in there, you take it over hostily, you then pay the taxes, and then after 10 years, you can claim it's yours. This fourplex was bought when me driving for Deal Machine, okay, on this block. So this is a Deal Machine sourced deal. The cool thing is, this is the worst property on the block, not surrounded by anything. These neighbors have our back 100%. Have you met him?
Yeah.
We also have...
That guy right there works security.
This guy?
Yeah, and every time I come by, he's always peeping, like he knows what's going on here.
This guy's checking us out, and we also have somebody who really likes their grass over here and has a portion of our driveway. We've addressed a couple issues here, right?
Someone just broke the window. They didn't actually break in.
Just because we're at the finish line here, and we're talking about that stuff, let's get these boarded up at least until the meantime, just, you know what I mean, just to protect it. It's gonna, cost us 2 sheets of plywood max to get this whole done. We got the garage removed. Danny saw my trade on that. How did we do that deal? We won't tell who it was, but how was that deal done?
Yeah, you kind of saw the material costs on one project and said, that's not right. Looked into it more. I went and audited every single Home Depot order. Found out that they were probably pocketing. Well, they were pocketed.
Well, we had estimated over time that there was a pocket between $15,000 and $25,000 from one of our contracts taking money from us. And so we found it out, confronted that person. We won't name that person because we made a verbal agreement that if they made up for us, we would not press charges. So it was a way for us to turn a negative into a positive, not send the guy to jail, and get some stuff done. So the first thing we did is have him tear this thing down. So you learned a good lesson on that one, right? It's called leverage. And when you have leverage, you use it, because if you don't, you won't have it for very long. So you got to jump on the opportunity right when you have it. So this is called a bad inlay. Why? There's no point in doing this. That's just stupidity. This is good floor right here. That's a smaller piece. Tile here. These,
full disclosure, all vanities, tile, and flooring was done before I came onto this project.
that means that this was top-notch quality, but it looks good and we're at the finish line, right? So what's been your biggest problem on this property?
The city.
Have they been easy to deal with?
No.
Tell me about that experience. How many times have you been over to the city, if you were to guess?
I mean, at least a couple dozen times, maybe more.
A couple dozen times. And what are we just waiting for on this property?
Them to sign off on plans.
And how long has that been going on?
About 8 weeks now.
8 weeks for the same plans?
The same plans.
We had the building inspector come over here initially when we got the stop work order. The lady next door called on the original contractor. We got shut down. He didn't pull a permit. We had to go redo all of our permits. Did that. Do you feel like working with the city is easy?
So single family, it's a much easier process, but like the multifamily process is not.
This is considered zone commercial now.
Actually, because it's four family.
So just to let you know, what happened on this property, and this is the beginning of this was built, I pulled the original permit, I think I showed it to you, in 1914 as a 4-person flat. But what Kansas City went and did is they rezoned it as a single family property. They go, you gotta go through the Polk phone records and find the original guy. And so I did that for like a week or two on their wild goose chase. And then once I got there, I was like, why don't I go to your historical part? One of the guys at the city, he pulled the original permit and it says 4 flat. I said, why do you need me to prove that this was built? Because they wanted me to prove that it was built as a 4-plex. And they had the records. So a lot of that type of stuff, right? So we're really just trying to get this thing done. The loan's been paid off. I borrowed hard money on the deal. I've already paid off the loan. So we're literally just stuck. We have a buyer in contract that wants to buy the property. Everything's been done in the property. The city's been in here. We just need them to sign off. So we're putting mini splits in this.
The upper units.
Mini splits, how much were they? A lot cheaper, right?
A lot cheaper, and so the reason for that is getting furnaces in the attic would have been a nightmare. We'd have to add a lot of electrical to do electrical furnaces up there. Getting gas furnace up there would have been pain. So
Yeah.
we looked at all of our options. We found we could do mini splits up here.
Who's doing our HVAC? It's Patrick, right? Patrick is who?
One of your students.
One of our students. How many jobs have we given Patrick?
A bunch.
Would you say over like $40,000 worth of work?
Oh, easily.
Easily. My program is $8,500 is my point. So we work with a lot of our students, and we try to give them money back if we can. So he earned more than that on this job. So hopefully it worked out good for him. He's been a great guy. And the reason that we're giving it to him is because he's really good and he cares. And he also was able to work on our condenser in our building that we had another big local company look at that he fixed it in how long? Like 4 hours?
Yeah, it was less than a day.
He also fixed my generator, got my generator hooked up. So he knows how to do everything. He's like Mr. Miyagi of electrical and HVAC. So this is where it's coming in. This will heat and cool the whole unit. So you already installed that. That's your air handler right there. Yeah, and this is the way to do it. To be honest with you, if we had to go back and do these again, this is how we should do any of the small ones. Any small unit under like 1,000 square foot, this should be the setup. How much was it total, material? Right. So it works a lot better, and you have a lot less that can go wrong, and this is going to push a lot more air specifically for them versus you're going to have to run ducts everywhere. We won't walk through every door here because we know what needs to be done, but on your end, Danny, what needs to be done with the city?
The plan reviews so that we can open up the permits for plumbing.
I'm gonna
and
shut this door.
HVAC. And then once we get the plumbing and HVAC plans approved, then we can pull those permits, finish the work, and then, once we get those permits, we can call for power, and then we can get the final inspection done and just done with it.
So we're in contract, and we've communicated with the city several times. We just had to escalate it today. Did you send that email yet? Okay, so once you send that email, let me know when that's done. I think that'll get the issue solved. We happen to have good relationships with some of the city, and I've made this suggestion to people at the city, but on stuff like that, they just make it hard for people to repair properties because commercial building code is crazy. Anyways, this will be a good investment for someone. I always went into this to flip it, never to hold it as a rental, even though I expected to. The colors were chosen by an interior designer. I think they look great. She picked that green. I think it was a great color. I think that's pretty much it on this one. By the way, Danny's leaving us. He'll be virtual, I guess, come June. Danny, what have you learned in the last couple months?
Couple months?
Well, I know specifically on these things is what I'm referring to. What have you learned in the last couple years? It's now been, over a year and a half?
Yeah, so I mean, just start from the beginning was, just learning.
How to sand a desk?
Well, I already knew that.
Yeah. That was a test.
Just learning from the ground up, all the nitty gritty ins and outs of real estate investing. Just enough to be able to manage it and
do it.
As of late, the acquisition side, that's been huge.
Fun?
That's been fun,
Yeah, it's fun to do that.
And then, the last few months, I've been really dialing in on city codes and just dealing with the permitting process.
Yeah, and I'll just be very clear, always pull your permits. You're not gonna pull permits on a light cosmetic fixture usually. But when you're going all the way, our guys should have pulled permits because what happened with this property, I didn't know the code. I didn't know when it went from, because I'm using my real estate brain saying this is still residential. Because from a real estate side, this is residential.
Yeah, mortgage standpoint, and then the city zoning is 4 family and up is commercial.
3 and up.
3 and up is commercial.
3 and up is commercial,
but then for a mortgage, 5 family and up is commercial.
Correct. So, yeah, the bottom line is you got contractors who have huge unions who have political power. It makes an advantage for them to say it's got to be commercial because then you got to hire commercial this, commercial that, commercial the other thing. Is commercial cheaper?
No.
Yeah. If we had pulled permits on this job, we would have been much, much better off from the beginning. 1,000%. We wish our guy would have pulled permits, but even the fact that we didn't, we should have been done probably a year ago.
Yeah.
A year ago on this property, because how long has this been sitting? Since you started almost, right?
Yeah, this has been sitting since before I started.
Yeah, so it's been sitting a while. And so we're getting them wrapped up, but there was a lot of projects like that. When you buy 82 houses in a short period of time, Some stuff's just gonna sit there for a little bit. All right, so anything else you wanna tell people?
That's it.
Okay, cool. Peace.